So, what would we like to talk about today? The Great Awakening. What is the Great Awakening?
The Great Awakening. What did you say, Jane? The Great Awakening is the return to oneness. It's the dissolution of the paradox. It's no longer seeing two, it's now seeing one. It's our inheritance. It's what Jesus came to bring us and show us that that we don't have any enemies, that vengeance is God's, that we don't need to do anything but love, and we love through forgiveness. And like Jesus says, you are God's. Awaken and do what you've come to do. And the only way to do that, what did you come to do? What's your purpose? You have to ask the Holy Spirit if you're a Christian. What do you want me to do? And how do you want me to proceed? And then go into the silence, and then the answer will come. And about the Great Awakening, everybody has their part to play. But too many of us are afraid to play our parts because we see when the ones that play their parts in the Great Awakening to bring love and kindness and gentleness, we see something happen to them. But in reality, it didn't happen to them. That's our own false perception about the love of God. That's our mind that sees sickness, death, and disease. But in reality, it's not true because God didn't create that. Yes, of course it sounds foolish. It's really unbelievable. But when you put the teachings of Jesus Christ into practical application in your life, and we've said this ad nauseum, you need to love the ones that you think you hate, and you need to forgive the ones that you think hate you. And then as you do that more and more often, then all the barriers begin to drop. The color barriers, the sexual barriers, the religious barriers, all the barriers that you saw before, because you're not alone in your advent to heaven. What is the kingdom of heaven? That's the awareness of the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening that Jesus brought us 2,000 years ago kind of got put on hold for 400 years because it was misguided by all the books that were put into the Bible instead of just Jesus's teachings alone. If we just read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and do exactly what Jesus says, we will awaken from the belief that we're a body that's going to someday die.
Can we talk a little bit about punishment?
Okay. Well, punishment is self-induced suffering based on not understanding the true nature of reality. When you understand the true nature of reality, you no longer suffer anything. And the reason we suffer is because we believe that someday we're going to die. So we're constantly in our mind believing that, and we're seeing we're a body, so we don't ever step back and say, God, you do for me what I'm trying to do for myself. Instead, because we see a body, we jump out, conditionally respond, trying every day to get for our own comfort, protection, or enjoyment. Now again, when we wake up to an alarm clock in the morning and we go to a job, the reason why we just can't quit the job is because it would cause our body too much hell. We say, what are you talking about? I can't just quit my job. I'm going to be homeless. Well, that's not necessarily true. However, if you believe it, then it would probably happen for you. But if you understand truly that you have help, that going out and trying to make your own way is not what you need to do, but you need to back out slowly from whatever you're doing. That's how it's done. You back out slowly by putting the teachings of Jesus Christ into practical application, and then you're guided by the Holy Spirit. Again, if we try to punish someone else for a deed that they did wrong, then we're really in a grand disillusion, because we're not seeing truly, because we don't have all the circumstances to punish someone else for something that they did and we weren't even there. Punishment. The only thing that I can say more about punishment is it's ungodly, and it's not Christ-like. And it doesn't matter if you're the warden, it doesn't matter if you're the judge, the jury, it doesn't matter. If you're going in there with the intent to punish someone, you're wrong, and God's vengeance is going to come on you in some way because you don't understand the true nature of reality. You cannot judge another without yourself being judged by God.
Well, we live in a very punishing society.
Yeah, because they're afraid.
Bitterly.
Everybody's bitterly afraid. And so they say, well, he needs to be punished for what he's doing. He was bad. He did this forever. Throw the key away. And that's the problem. The eagle thrives on hatred. It thrives on politicians or government officials are getting up there and saying, yeah, we're going to lock them up and we're going to throw away the key. Well, what did they do? You got to think about, what did they do? Would you do that if it was your own child? No, you wouldn't do that. Absolutely not. You wouldn't throw away the key. Or if it was yourself, you wouldn't throw away the key. You'd say, hey, I made a mistake. Can you help me? It wasn't right. I need help. That's what you would do. You wouldn't start judging others if you understood everything. You would help them. You would help them. Like Brian Stevenson's
Yes.
doing. I know I keep going back to Brian, Carolyn,
Yes.
but he's like the leader of America right
Yes,
now
he
in my
really
eyes.
is.
But what he's doing is, no one else is doing that. No one's done that since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Even all the other ones that were with Dr. King, they never stepped up to prominent. They never said, okay, I'm gonna take the baton now that Dr. King gave, and I'm gonna run with it for a while as long as I got here. That's what Brian Stevenson's doing, and that's why we have to help him, because he knows that punishment is insane. He knows that locking people up for drug offenses and everything, that's insanity. Letting other people decide other people's lives for them, like, it's insanity. The only way to have proper punishment that's not cruel and unusual is ask Jesus Christ, what are we supposed to do? When you go to, there's certain places in Africa, when someone does something wrong, the whole tribe circles around them. They put the wrong person in the middle, and they start saying all the good stuff that they did. And they say, you're good, you can't do it, you're wonderful, and then what happens is, that person has a spiritual understanding of what they did wasn't mean, wicked, or evil. It was wrong, and now they don't do it anymore.
Miscreating.
They miscreated, and once you realize, well, that didn't work, and once you understand that you can change your thought, and it changes your outside world because it didn't work, you can change the way you think about, and then when you change the way you think about things, the things you think about change. Thank you, Wayne Dyer.
Thank you.